Hey there, and welcome to the Digital Nomad Life podcast. I'm your host, Christa, a long-term digital nomad and someone who is so passionate about helping other people achieve a lifestyle of freedom and location independence and any other kind of freedom you can actually tie into that. That includes financial freedom and I think freedom of the mind. Today's episode, I am so excited to be interviewing this very special guest, Eran, who I met, we met on the Nomad cruise, I believe. We've known each other for a few years actually, but I only recently learned his real story. He's here traveling in Bali as a nomad himself. And just when I heard his story, I was like, my people need to hear this story. I actually literally have goosebumps just saying that. I really feel like this story is going to hit so hard with so many people because when I heard your story, my reaction was, oh my gosh, people have no excuse. Like if they hear your story, they're literally not going to have any excuse not to make their dreams come true. Because I think, Eran, your story is so like, I don't know. Everyone will understand. It's just kind of an extreme story and it's amazing. So
Thanks for that lovely intro.
yeah, you're so welcome. Okay, I'm so excited to have you here.
Yeah.
And let's just dive right in.
Sure.
So, like I was just saying to the listeners, this story is a little extreme, actually. And what are you doing now?
Yeah.
Let's just actually paint so people can understand how far you've come, the dream life that you're now living. We're obviously sitting here in Bali.
Yeah.
But what else is happening in your life? What's going on?
Yeah, totally. So right now, I'm living in Bali. I've been nomading for 2 years now, give or take 2 years. I was in Australia. I bought a home there using my online business. That's what I actually did. So that's an investment property. I moved to Dubai to set up my company, was there for 6 months. And then since then, I've just been traveling for, 10 different countries, just hardcore nomading last year. And now I'm in Bali, chilling. And I actually have a fitness journey. I actually hired a personal trainer to live with me for the next 6 months to literally train the heck out of me, take care of my diet and stuff like that. And my business is still running. I've got a few people working for me. And I've got a YouTube channel and membership business, affiliate marketing, a software company, and mixture of things basically that support my digital nomad lifestyle.
Okay, so what I just heard is there's an empire, some kind of digital nomad empire where you've just got all these different channels, multiple businesses, and it sounds like your businesses are doing not just well, they're doing great, like well enough for you to buy a house in Australia, right? Like a total first world, like amazing country. And enough money to kind of have this like boss move of, I want to have a personal trainer and I want him to be 100% focused on me all the time. So badass. Okay, so this is where we are now. And I want to turn back the clock. To a time when life did not look like this. And can you share with the listeners what your life used to be like?
Totally. I've lived 2 lifetimes, honestly. Like it's 2 completely different worlds. I started the online journey when I was 30, but the life before that was very different. First of all, I moved away from Israel, which is where I was born and raised, when I was 16, and I moved at 16 on my own without my family and left to Australia. And I did that for a number of reasons. Number one, I'd already left school, didn't really have any interest in that. So I left. I didn't go to high school, so that was out of the question. Didn't want to do the military, didn't want to do university, kind of no interest in any of the traditional stuff. And then when I was in Australia, I did basically some sort of a voluntary commitment lifestyle, which really meant that food and accommodations was provided for me. And all I did is volunteer. And I did that for my entire adult life until I was 30, turning 31. So from 16 till that. So for 14 and a half years. It's pretty much all I did. And it was a very secluded lifestyle, I should say. So no really access to internet, like social media I've never heard of the word entrepreneurship or, online business. Like none of that stuff was in my, just like growing in a different secluded community which just doesn't have that level of access. And even if you have some snippets, you just don't know, just like you don't know something, you just don't know. So that was the first lifetime basically. And once that got cut off, and I basically like ended that and was going to transition, I was like, okay, I need to go make some money.
Okay, so to recap what you just said, because I think to me this part of your story is the most exceptional part.
Yeah.
So so you didn't go to high school.
Yeah.
First of all, so anybody listening here who's like, Christa, I want to become a digital nomad, but I don't have a degree. I'm like, okay, well, did you hear Eran's story? Okay, so we didn't go to high school, and then moved somewhere where you were, so from 16 to 30, so basically like 14 years.
Yeah.
And in the years when most people would be developing experience, right? I think a lot of people get to the age of 30 and they're like, oh my gosh, but like I only have waitering experience or whatever. You actually literally didn't have any experience even handling money. Like it was completely volunteer. Like you never had a paycheck.
Correct.
And slip to that in there, it didn't have internet.
So, very minimal. I think I got a Skype account to talk to family at some point when it came out, 2008, 2010. I remember watching some soccer videos periodically and email with my parents. That's it. That was the extent of my internet.
Okay. Wow. All right. So literally no digital, not even just digital skills, like
Yeah.
no digital experience. Like that's kind of like the way that my grandma uses the internet, basically.
Literally.
So 30 years old, you have had some moment where you were like, I don't want to do this anymore. What happened in that moment? Or what made you make this decision? And that must have been pretty scary, I would imagine.
Yeah, look, it was definitely scary. And I would say it wasn't scary more so much. It was lonely, really. It was very lonely because it's like everything you've known, and now you're doing something totally different, but you're kind of the only one doing it. So it's just felt really alone. And anybody that's not from that world, that you're trying to enter that new world, I mean, there's just no way. It's so like crazy, It's just very, very. So finding that, escape, doing that alone was probably more, I guess, sad, I don't know. I because you're starting from scratch. Your back is against the wall. There's no money. There's no connections. There's no nothing. But I did have like a bit of a survival instinct. Obviously, like, okay, I need to make some money. I got to figure out a way to support myself, and whatever that's going to look like, basically. And also, obviously, to commit to a life like that, the overall mission originally why I did it was I wanted to help people. That was really their point. It wasn't about that specific thing that I was doing. I just wanted to help people. That was really fundamentally as a human.
Yeah, and the organization or the co-op that you were living in, sort of that was the main mission. And so when you went into it, you were like, I'm a mission-driven person. I'm doing something that feels meaningful to me. And you were doing that for however long, and then around this age of 30, then you had a shift.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
right. So that shift was, obviously there's so many factors, personally, professionally, whatever, but the circumstances made it that really there was no resources to start with anything. I didn't have anybody to go to. There wasn't like some people that I was like, oh, can I have a job? Like it was just none of that stuff. I just had to kind of figure stuff out.
Yeah. When you were telling me before, it kind of sounded like it was a really big deal, almost offensive to the community that you had been living in for so long that you were deciding to no longer live there.
Yeah.
And I just, this is another point of the story that I really wanted to just dive into, because I know that meeting so many people who want to change their lives and have gone on to change their lives, we all have had this moment where we had to, I don't know, for lack of a better term, like turn our backs against our society.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, that simply just means like disappointing their parents or their grandparents. Other people, it might mean that they drop out of grad school or something like that. And so for you, it's like more extreme than that. It's actually like you were doing that to everybody that you had been interacting with for the past 14 years.
Yeah.
So how did they respond to you, and how did you handle that?
So it's interesting. First of all, I was also married at that time, so I also got divorced at the very same time.
Oh, wow.
So it was a combination of I got divorced plus, left what I knew my whole life, and now I'm trying to do something new. So I think the biggest way it really was just a lonely, because all of a sudden I was part of something, and now I'm just alone. So it wasn't like even like a hatred or anything like that, but it was like, well, okay, you're no longer a part of us, so you're no longer part of the group. Like, that's just the way it is. So then you're going and you're like fish out of water, and then you're like, what's Instagram? I've heard of this thing, like,
What's Instagram?
like, I remember, this is so funny.
Wait, what year are we talking about
This
here?
is 2017.
Okay, 2017.
Yeah,
Okay, so Instagram was like
2017.
a full-fledged thing
Oh
by
yeah.
then. Damn.
So I remember when I first got, I think it was Instagram I got, and I remember because my brother, he's also very entrepreneurial and stuff like that, and I remember I started sending him memes. I started seeing memes. I'm like, oh my god, this is so funny. I sent it to him. He's like, Eran, this has been around for like forever, and then I'm like, oh okay, like I'm sending these memes from like 2009 or something, but I have no idea because I've never seen a meme before,
Oh my gosh, so you're literally just like emerging into the world and like,
Literally.
look at this, whoa, oh my god, Instagram and money. Yeah?
Literally, yeah.
Okay, yeah, keep going. Tell me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, it's really kind of crazy, really, because first of all, I remember I've never heard of the word entrepreneur, and I remember the way it happened. Actually, the transition. I'll just tell you, I was actually on the unemployment benefit in Australia, and so I was getting that to be able to support myself, which is very minimal, and I didn't have any Wi-Fi or anything like that, so I went to McDonald's, and I basically sat in McDonald's using their free Wi-Fi. So I got a second-hand laptop for like $300. I got a mobile phone on a payment plan, paid it with my money from the unemployment benefit, and I just sat in McDonald's watching YouTube videos, trying to learn different things. I was actually primarily trying to learn real estate because I thought, okay, people with money have real estate. That was kind of my instinct. So that's what I was actually watching. But as part of watching YouTube videos, I saw an ad that said, start an online business with no money down. And I was like, what's an online business?
What's an online business? Wow.
Yeah. So, and then I went down that rabbit hole, found out about affiliate marketing from it and ClickBank and stuff like that, which is a bunch of whatevers. And went down that rabbit hole. And that was my introduction to the online world. End up on a sales call, high-ticket sales call as per usual for a webinar. Even the first webinar, I remember watching it. And I'm like, oh my God, this is really, like, I really thought it was live, like, I was just so clueless, so clueless. And I remember getting the automated email. I was like, my heart was beating. I was like, oh my God, this guy's emailing me. This is amazing. Like, he's a real person who's trying to help me,
Yeah.
I have no idea, but it's actually automated, you know what I mean? So it was just fish out of water. And I just knew I had to figure it out, basically. So,
Okay, so just recapping all the important parts of the story. So when a lot of people tell me, Christa, I want to become a digital nomad, but I have no money. I'm going to be like, did you hear Eran's story? Because he literally didn't even basically touch money until he was 30.
Yeah.
And then every country has actually, does every country have some form of unemployment? I feel like my listener base probably is from a country that has some kind of unemployment.
Yeah.
If you're listening and you don't have unemployment, slide into my DMs and let's talk about another solution. But if you have access to something like unemployment, okay, it's not going to be a lot of money. We're not saying that you're rolling in the dough and have a ton of money to invest in like the biggest things, but YouTube is free.
Yeah.
YouTube is free. And there's so many people, yourself now included, making amazing content on YouTube that really, really helps people learn things. And what I always say, I didn't actually really introduce like what my business is, but I help people become digital nomads even when they're starting from absolute scratch. So at some point, maybe you could have been one of my clients.
Yeah.
But this is what I tell them, like, you have to learn a skill. You need to decide what that skill is. And so for you, it sounds like first you decided real estate and then you decided affiliate marketing.
Yeah.
Okay. So So you watch this quote live end quote webinar, and you're wowed by it. And then they personally emailed you immediately after, and you were so impressed. And then what happened next?
It sounds so funny when
I
you
know.
think about it now. It's just so crazy.
I love it.
But that's where I was. I ended up on a sales call with that person. They wanted $5,000 for a coaching program to teach me affiliate marketing.
5K.
And, yeah. And I remember I was like, did you not like listen to what I said? I'm unemployed. I live on unemployment benefit. Barely like I'm eating like the way I stretched my money. I was eating off the dollar menu in McDonald's and using their free Wi-Fi. It wasn't like I was like, I'll tell you what, because I was so eager. I remember because I had no idea. The poor guy was getting sold from me. I was like, look, I'll make a counter offer. I will give you $10,000, 90% of the profits of anything you help me make up until you make 10K.
Wow.
And he was like, "That no, we have to have an upfront investment." Da 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 da. And I was like pushing, like, I was really eager. Anyway, he said no. I was like, okay, well, I can't, there's nothing else to discuss. And then, but because I was introduced to the concept of affiliate marketing, because real estate I was just learning, right? And I went through the ad, and then I was like, okay, what's affiliate marketing? Then I went down the rabbit hole of that. And then I did end up finding a company that had like a $49 course. I was like, okay, $49, I could do that. I learned a bit of affiliate marketing. It was also part of a funnel, of course. And I ended up doing sales and coaching for that specific company, basically. So that was...
You got a job with them?
Yeah, I applied for a sales position, basically.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you had taken the course, and then when you applied, you were like, I already know your course, and I can do this.
Yeah.
And then needed sales for them.
That's right. Because they assigned a coach to you, and I thought I could do what he does. You know what I mean? And then I applied. I just kind of pushed my way through the door. There was 160 people that applied. So it was like 10 of us that got in.
Wow. Nice.
So it was like a whole thing. And yeah, I just kind of made it through. And that's how I made money for the first 14 months until they got shut down by the FTC in the US.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Why? For being a pyramid, basically. Oh. Yeah. So it was like, yeah. And I borrowed a lot of money to also be able to be part of it and pay for their masterminds and da-da-da-da-da. So
at this point, you're in debt?
Yeah.
Okay.
By the time they got shut down, I was back to zero, but with a debt on top.
Okay. Yeah. And I love this, actually, because so zero, but out of debt.
Yes.
Is still,
better.
I believe, infinitely better than where you were before, which was zero with no debt ever, but also no skills.
Yeah.
So like now at least you have experience.
That's right.
I love that.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's exactly
amazing.
right.
Okay, so we're up leveled.
That's right. So exactly. So the money was like, okay, now we're at zero, but no skills. So no idea what the heck's going on. Just like clueless. To, I know a little bit of what's going on, but I'm in a $55K debt. $55,000, by the way. It was a big debt.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a big debt. $55,000 debt, but know a little bit of what's going on. I managed to get a 9-to-5 sales job with a friend that got me in because I had sales experience. I would manage to get myself in a 9-to-5 corporate job, making whatever, 40 after tax, approximately, per year. And I did that for 8 months while I was side hustling to figure out.
Are we in an office in Australia with this sales job? Okay.
Yeah, in Sydney. At that point, I was really pissed off, honestly, because I worked my butt off for 2 years or year and a half to do really well. And all of a sudden, I'm like, how did I work so hard to be in 55K debt? That makes zero sense. I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I don't go out, I don't party, I just freaking hustle. And that's when I went down trying all sorts of things. The drop shipping, the print on demand, the courses, the whatever, you name it. You know, had a furniture store and drop shipping, flipping domains. I was trying all sorts of stuff.
Wow.
Side hustling, blogging, all that. And then I came across basically accidentally service providing. Yeah, which is very much something that you advocate. And honestly, like that is where I had a breakthrough online. Like for real, not just like made some money on something that's unsustainable, but like a real breakthrough is when I started doing service providing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so pulling out the little nuggets from that part of the story.
Yeah.
So whoever you are listening to this podcast, if you can relate to this experience of like trying this and trying that and watching this webinar and reading that book and binging this YouTube channel and then switching directions and whatever, that kind of is just like par for the course. Like
Yeah.
it's just kind of something you have to do. Like you sort of have to know what your options are and what's out there and what doesn't feel good for you in order to really land on the thing that does. Unless you come to one of my career assessment calls, and then I'll help you skip that process. But more on that later. Anyway, I also had this experience. Like
Yeah.
a big part of my story is I tried to create 7 businesses
Yeah.
and failed at all of them
Yeah.
before I ended up landing on what it sounds like you also have. So same. We both were like, oh, let's try this way of make money online. Side also, I have a whole podcast episode. One of my first ones is about how to spot a scam, a digital nomad scam. Sorry that you had that experience,
It's
Eran,
okay.
but there are a lot of them out there.
Ah,
So
they're not going away.
no, they're not. Like because everybody wants to make money online. Like it's the most like alluring phrase that one could say. So yeah, anyway, the point of what I'm trying to say here is that we both landed on the small service provider model is actually the most legit
Yeah.
way to be making a real income.
Yeah.
There's legit ways to be making some income, like, you know, a bunch of the things that you shared before, like drop shipping or whatever, like, but I think that leans more in the passive income realm, and we'll have to talk about passive income towards the end of this episode for sure. But yeah, anyway, let's keep going. So you landed on the service provider
Yeah.
model.
Yeah.
And actually, could you explain what that means if somebody's listening
Yeah.
and they don't know what that is?
Yeah. So basically, you are picking something that you can do that someone else doesn't know how to do, or they don't feel like doing themselves. That's also an option. And you're basically taking it off their plate and doing it for them. It could be something as simple. If you want to relate it to the everyday world, like we're sitting here, I'm having a cup of coffee. Somebody made that cup of coffee. Could I have done it myself? Sure, I could. But I prefer to pay somebody X amount of dollars to be able to make it for me. That's a service. That's as simple as granular as it gets. It could be somebody cleaning your house, somebody walking your dog. So in the digital realm, there is other things, like we're doing a podcast. This video might need to be edited. So somebody out there is going to be the better use of Christa's time is not to edit the podcast, but have someone else and pay them X amount of dollars because their time is more valuable to get paid for that. Same with anything else, like let's say this podcast gets turned to a YouTube or blog post. So any sort of service in the digital realm, that's a service provider. And there's so many of them. You know?
Infinite.
And
Like actually infinite. I think.
infinite. And us as business owners now, like me and Christa, I think our appreciation for service providers, at least for me, all the time it increases because I'm like, there's so many things I want to do and I just don't want to do myself. And so I'm like, people, just be good at this one thing and I'll pay you.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, that's a huge message that I always drive home. If you're hearing that and you're like, "What are you talking about?" If you link in the show notes, then I have a couple of free trainings. One is called "How to Get Started as a Digital Nomad." So that's just an example, and you'll hear me talk about this. So the main message that I want to share is that you really do just actually need to learn one thing. Like if you want to go into digital marketing, for example, and there's so many quote make money online quote people that say do digital marketing, not actually explaining that there's a million things within digital marketing that you can do.
Yeah.
So to your example, you could literally just learn how to take podcasts and turn them into blog posts.
Correct.
That's a service. Are you going to make a killing doing that? No, but you can start there as that one thing that you do, get some money, and as you build experience, you add more things to your repertoire and you start building out your actual digital marketing agency. But you can get started with just this one thing.
Yeah.
So
100%.
So what was your thing?
So because I tried drop shipping, I remember I paid for another coaching program with somebody who was like, I'll coach you on how to do drop shipping. And here's a store. Turn over the store. It was a freaking disaster. And his coaching was literally a PDF with like no paragraphs. I swear to God, it was like, how am I supposed to read? And I read it. It was 89 pages.
Oh my God.
No paragraphs. That's how eager I was like, I'm going to figure this out. Freaking disaster. It was a furniture store. And I paid a Facebook ads agency, ran ads, no sales. But because the store that was turned out for me was so terrible, I learned how to build a Shopify store, or at least manage it a little bit. And then I had a friend that I was engaging, or somebody, not even a friend, a stranger that I was engaging with on Facebook. And because we just formed a relationship in a Facebook group, because that's what you do, you network, you try to meet people, that's part of lead generation and customer acquisition. And he said, hey, by the way, do you know anybody who knows how to build a Shopify store? And I said, I mean, I just built my own. I'm happy to give it a go. And he said, okay, let me connect you up. And then the guy connected me up, said to me, I need to get, it was a nonprofit in the US. And I said to him, I said, look, I've got no experience, but here's the store that I built for myself. Didn't make any sales, different niche. But if this is okay, there was a quality, I'm happy to give it a go. It'll be my first project. And then he said, what do you charge? I says, I don't know. Do you have any specific budget you're trying to accommodate for? Listen to that question, right? And he said, I was hoping for something for $200. In my mind, I was like, $200? I'll take it. Freaking hell. I would have done it for free. Like, yeah, I'll take it.
Cha-ching.
Yeah. So he paid me $200.
Nice.
I spent about 30 hours, built the store. It was great. I was so happy.
Wow.
Right?
Love it. Great.
And then obviously he was happy. His friend was happy, gave me the referral. The guy who gave me the referral said to me, that was good. Do you want another one? I was like, sure. He gave me another referral. This one, he actually closed the deal. It was $1,000.
Oh.
He said, are you okay if we do 50-50? $500 on a deal I didn't close? I'll take it.
Wow.
No problem. So he gave me the project. I did the project, delivered it. It was a T-shirt store, something. And turned it over. I got $500. I was like, mind blown. Then I remembered back when I did affiliate marketing previously, there was the whole concept of affiliate marketing is all about you're telling other people about a product that you like, and then you get paid a commission on a recurring basis. And I thought, what if I do that for this concept of service providing? So I sent an email to my list. And in my mind, I thought, because he got $500 out of the deal, what if I tell my list, if you have any referrals for me, I'll give you $500 for a website project. I'm starting to build websites. Because I had a small list from my affiliate marketing journey, 300 people, nothing crazy. The second website project that I did, there was a couple, wife and husband, or they weren't married at the time, but they were a couple. She replied saying, my hairdresser in North Carolina needs a website. I was just at the hairdresser today. Trying to connect you up. I said, sure. I connected up with the hairstylist in North Carolina. Her name is Kaylee. And hopped on Zoom. Or it wasn't a Zoom, actually. It was just a phone call. And she said, how much? I said, $1,500. She's like, okay, no problem. I almost fell off my chair. I got paid $1,500. And she needed a WordPress website, which I didn't know how to do.
Okay.
What I did at the time, this is freaking crazy, right? From the days of affiliate marketing, I learned about people who fake things. Like, they just do crap. So this person specifically was building Instagram accounts with fake followers, right?
That's what your first client was doing?
No.
Oh,
This
you
is just
found someone else.
This is something that I learned in the affiliate marketing world.
Oh, okay.
In the first year, in my trial and error, blah, blah. And there was just one person that I knew from that time who was doing that. And he built an Instagram account with a lot of fake followers. 100,000 followers, quote unquote. Yep. And he was running a giveaway on his Instagram account for a free website. And I was like, this account is all bots except for me. I'm probably the only human. So I was like entering the giveaway, and I won the website. Right?
You were like literally the only real follower.
Literally the only human. So of course I was like, I'm going to win this website. And I did. I won the website. So the website, I used that giveaway win to deliver the website to that project, the hairstylist.
Wow. Smart.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then I got the WordPress website done. This Indian guy did it.
Yeah.
And then when he did it, obviously I got the website for free. I told him, I still want to pay you. Yeah. And the lady was so happy with the website, but it was great.
Nice.
But I told him, I said, I still want to pay you. I'll pay you $250 on one condition. I need you to hop on a Zoom call and show me how you did it. Which he did that, showed me how he built it. And then I learned about Elementor. And I was like, okay.
Elementor is?
It's a WordPress plugin to build web, which, by the way, I'm not a techie at all, actually. Like, I'm not a developer in any way. Like, this was all over my head.
It kind of makes it like you can drag and drop to build a website, right?
Yeah.
So you don't even have to know any kind of development.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Cool.
Not drag and drop at all. It's drag and drop only. It's not developing. But, so he taught me how to do Elementor and how he did it. And then Kaylee, when I turned it over, she was so happy. And she asked me a question that changed my life at that moment, because she asked me, what's next? And I was like, what do you mean? I just turn over the website. Like, it's a done deal. In my mind, that's what I'm thinking. And she says, well, like, if I need some changes, what do I do? Do I come to you? Do I get a quote? And I said, what if you pay me a subscription, and if you ever need any changes, come and let me know. Okay, how much? I'm thinking, $25? Like, I was like, I've got no idea. He's like, okay. Gave me a credit card.
Cha-ching.
All of a sudden, I was making $25 passive/recurring income.
Mm-hmm.
She did that for over 3 years.
Wow.
She stayed with me, right? And we're still friends. Like, she's still following Instagram. And I could not have asked for a better client. She was so lovely and so great and all that. But it gave me a light bulb moment where I was like, okay, here's a business model. Build a website for an upfront fee. Figure out how to turn it into a recurring subscription. That's where affiliate marketing made sense to me for the first time. Because I was like, I could affiliate a software. Somebody could sign up for a software where I get a commission for that software. I will build a website on that software, but that software will pay me a percentage. And that's the business I started building for the next year and a half, basically.
Wow. And there are so many softwares that
So
do
many
that.
softwares.
But before we get into that, I want to just kind of go back because there were so many really great things out of that part of the story. And to me, it really just articulates the value of mentorship from so many different angles. First of all, just you're like, I just really want to shout you out, like, so clever, like so many parts of the story. You just obviously are like someone who thinks on your feet. So that you were like, wait a minute, I'm going to win. I'm going to win this thing. And that you thought to actually use that for your client.
Yeah.
And love that you were like, yes, I will do this for you, even though you didn't actually know how.
Yeah.
First of all, so brave.
Yeah.
Second, sometimes you just actually have to do that. Like when you're starting off, if you're someone that doesn't have a lot of skills, I tell this to my clients all the time because, you know, I work with people where they're just getting started and they don't have a robust skill set to start off with. Just like you, right? You knew how to build a Shopify store, but you didn't know how to build a WordPress website. So, but you still said yes. And I believe out of this story, the reason why you said yes is because by now the listeners can all tell you're someone who trusts yourself, and you should trust yourself because you just have proven yourself over and over and over again to commit to something. Like if you have an idea and if you have a vision, that you're just going to go all in on that vision fearlessly because you just have to do it.
Yeah.
So you were like, yes, I will build this WordPress store for you, lady, 2 thumbs up. And then meanwhile you're like, oh shit, like how do I build a WordPress store? And then you found a way to do that and you still delivered and the client was still happy. And does she know this story, by the way?
Yeah, absolutely.
Of
course.
What did she say? Did she know at the time?
No, she doesn't know at the time.
Oh, okay.
She knows that I was one of my early websites, and then at the time, I don't remember how the sales call. That's why I say she was probably the loveliest person I could have asked for because she really wasn't so. She just wanted a website.
Sweet hairdresser Kelly.
Lovely.
Love it. Yeah.
And this is such a funny anecdote. She sent me one of the pictures for the website. So she, on her salon, she see her on a chair, like sitting really cool, and you see a neon light above her. It says "Hustle Matters."
Nice.
I mean, talk about if you believe in the
matters.
universe and things like that. I mean, I was like, oh
Yeah.
my God, I love this woman.
Cool. Love that. Okay, so ideal client. Just sometimes we also get those little gifts.
Yeah.
But a few other important parts of that story. Okay, so then you also understood the value of being taught something.
Yeah.
Because at this point in the story by now, you know that you can learn shit on YouTube.
Yeah.
But here's an actual human who can just teach you, which will obviously expedite the process significantly.
Yeah.
And then you get the opportunity to ask questions and have the teaching of that be applied to wherever you are within your journey of knowledge. So super smart to just get that guy to teach you how to do it. So love that as well. I think just again, like what I was saying, that part of the story really articulates the value of mentorship. You learned so much via trial and error.
Yeah.
You learned about affiliate marketing because you were like, oh, it was like this whole story came from your light bulb moments. Oh, wait, if I just ask my list for referrals and I can pay them, then this will make sense. You would figure that out on your own.
Yeah.
And then recurring income.
Yeah.
Also, you figured that out on your own. Like a situation happened to present itself in front of you, and then you were like, oh, wait, like I could just have a recurring situation.
Yeah.
So all these things you learn through trial and error,
Yeah.
which is amazing. And I know that a mentality that a lot of people have when they have not yet started a business and when they're kind of in a disempowered place of like, oh, but I don't have any skills, or like, I don't know anything about entrepreneurship. And they just see this huge, like, I don't know, journey ahead of them where they feel like it's going to take so long for them to get to where they are, to where they want to be. They forget that you can literally just ask someone,
Yeah.
and then you don't have to have all the light bulb moments yourself. You don't have to wait for an opportunity in the universe to be like, let me teach you about these things. You obviously were meant to learn these things and meant to have these light bulb moments. But it's like the concept of recurring revenue, the concept of affiliate marketing and referrals. Like, these are just tried and true business practices that you will learn on day one of business school, and you will learn in any single coaching program. Or if you can ask literally any single business owner, and they'll just be like, oh yeah, this, and this.
Yeah.
Or you could try to figure it out yourself, like you did, Eran, which is figuring it out yourself.
Yeah.
But whoever you are listening to this podcast, you don't actually have to wait for years to go by to figure it out yourself. You can literally just ask someone.
Yeah.
The value of mentorship.
Yeah.
So you realized that you can affiliate for software.
Yeah.
So, and now that kind of has taken us to where you currently are today in your business. So can you just bridge that gap in the story for us?
Totally. So this was just in terms of timeline, 2017, I'm leaving the previous life that I've lived. Around April 2017, I'm actually like coaching, making money, and doing affiliate marketing with that company. Middle of 2018, they got shut down. I have no money. I'm in $55,000 debt.
Did they also get shut down because they were sketchy?
Yeah. The company. No, the company got shut down.
Yeah.
The full company was all. No, it was like a whole thing.
Oh, no.
It was a whole freaking. One day I wake up and I'm like, why is the website down?
Oh, no.
And all the coaches. It was like 50 or 100 coaches. It wasn't like a small company. It was like a big. Anyway, it was a lot of people lost their money. A lot of people. Person got sued. The whole shebang. It was a mess. Anyway, school of hard knock, basically.
Got to go through it.
Yeah. And this was middle of 2018 at that stage, 55K debt. Within a week, I had a corporate job. I moved to Sydney. I was in Perth at the time. I flew to Sydney, got a job. We did that for 8 months, side hustled until February 2019. March, I quit the job. And then March 2019, I quit my job, started trying to figure stuff out again. Took me about up until August to September to actually land on the freelancing. So I was still trying stuff out and failing miserably, or making some money, but not enough to live on, right? And in September 2019 is when I landed on the service providing, basically. And I did that pretty hardcore, the traditional websites. By the way, that Indian guy would build a website on the giveaway. I ended up just giving him more projects. That's how I ended up actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so
Smart.
he worked with me for a year, actually, for a year, until the end of 2020. End of 2020, and by that stage, I paid off my debt, by the way, around June, July. So I paid off the full debt, and I invested in a chair and in a computer, and I was like, okay. I remember I went
Making my way up in the world.
Yeah.
I own a chair now.
like a gamer chair, but you could probably
okay.
sit
It's like
on.
a nice chair.
Yeah. So it was like November was my November 2020. I remember I bought myself a present. I was like, get a chair, get in the computer. I spent $5,000 on all sorts of gadgets. And then come December, Christmas, and I was still just building websites primarily and making money from affiliate marketing as well, because I built a website by recommending a software, and I started building affiliate income, affiliate income, basically. And then this was 2020, end of 2020, and then Christmas comes, everybody's slacking off, everybody's taking vacations, and I was like, I'm a bit of a workaholic, I really want to make money. Let me make an offer to my audience to see if they bite. And I said, I'm going to basically sell my time, prostitute my time for $50 an hour. I'll do whatever you want, build your website, coach you, whatever. I sent an email to my list on the 1st of December. Within 5 days, I sold 100 hours of my time for $50 each. $5,000 in 5 days. Almost fell off my chair. I was like, this is amazing. The condition was you have to use those hours in the month of December.
Nice.
That was the condition. So I was flat out in December. And that's when I hopped on a Zoom call with a lot of people. And most of them said, build me my website. I said, okay. So I started building a website. And then I'm like, do you want to share my screen? I mean, you're here. You might as well watch it get done. Sure. And then all of a sudden I learned this completely new model, which totally changed my business, which is building people's websites and funnels and landing pages on Zoom while they're watching.
Oh.
So instead of just doing it the traditional way, I actually just literally hop on a Zoom call and I build it for them while they're there, and then they're learning at the same time.
Wow.
And that totally changed my business, doubled my income, and it was like a massive difference.
Cool.
Yeah, it
Wow.
was like I really figured out my superpower as a service provider from that, basically. And I was completely sold out until April the next year, 2021.
Wow.
Stage.
Amazing.
I mean, like, no more hours to sell. Even on my sleep schedule, there was just nothing more. There was nothing more to sell.
Yeah.
Basically, and that's when I launched a membership, because I was like, okay, I've hit a ceiling. Let me launch a membership, and it was a tech support membership.
And the membership is what you're running today.
Yeah.
Can you share what the membership is?
Totally. So originally it was very simple. It was basically, because I build your website, you still have questions later. You can ask me any questions you want, $49 a month, and I will give you an answer in under 24 hours. That was the membership. And I had about 100 people sign up at the time. And since then, I've evolved the membership to website templates and email templates and Canva templates and group calls. And I have a virtual assistant team that does the group calls for the tech support. I don't actually do them myself anymore. Things like that, right? So it's way more involved. But at the time, it was just me answering emails, basically, with a video, basically. And I had about 100 people join. And it was really just, I hit a ceiling on the service provider. There was just no more money to be made unless I raised my prices, which has, without getting too business-wise into it, there was just reasons why I didn't feel like raising the price is going to be a smart move at that point, basically. And I felt I found my sweet spot on the price, and changing it just did not make sense to me. So I was like, let me transition to one-to-many, which was a membership. And I've got about 300 people in my membership nowadays. So
300 people paying
300
$50
plus.
a month.
It varies depending on the style of my membership,
Yeah.
because there's different tiers.
So some pay more?
Some pay more, some pay less, but give or take, average about 53.
Okay, so about 300 people
Yeah.
paying an average of $50 a month.
Yeah.
And that's just recurring every single month.
Correct.
And you don't have to get on private Zoom calls with them. You just you just promote
Not
that.
one-on-one.
Yeah.
I do, like, nowadays, and it's all testing, right? Like, the whole online world, it's all testing. So while I'm in Bali, I'm doing a test, and I said, look, I'm going to do a live stream on a Facebook group, private Facebook group, basically every day.
Yeah.
So, but it's testing. So, but
Yeah.
I do like 10 minutes on live stream.
So that's $15K a month, right? If we average that out.
So the membership has different tiers. So it's not, I would say that probably about 120 are paying, give or take, 50 to 60 a month average. There is another 200 that pay anywhere between 27, give or take 27 average a month. So yeah, it's about 10K combined.
10K a month for the whole year. So
Yeah.
This is over
10K a
$100K
month.
salary.
Yeah.
Where it sounds like it's actually a pretty breezy situation. I mean, you are literally like eat, sleep, breathing at the gym now. And
Literally.
living in Bali and
Yeah.
traveling all over the world
Yeah.
and just being so like. And to the listeners, remember where Eran started.
Yeah.
Literally not even handling money and only watching soccer videos on YouTube up until he was 30 years old, not even going to high school. Like, what the hell? What the hell? Just all the things. Like, this is why at the beginning of this episode, I was like, anybody who listens to this, they're going to be like, I have no excuse.
Yeah.
I literally have no excuse, because in your story, you didn't have any money. You didn't have the education. You didn't have the skills. You didn't have the knowledge. You didn't have mentorship. You didn't have support from the people around you. You like actually didn't have any resources. And still you managed to not just like crawl your way out of that and start surviving. You're fucking thriving.
Yeah.
Thriving right now. It's so cool.
Yeah.
I just I just love it. It's like one of the best stories I've ever heard.
Appreciate
it's
that.
amazing. Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. When you told me that story, I just was like, I just feel so proud of you. Like so cool.
Thanks.
So yeah. Is there any other part of the story that you feel like you really want to share with whoever's listening?
Yeah, I think the mental side of things, of overcoming mental blocks and stuff like that, people have it in different ways, right? Like to me, I honestly, like, I've never had a doubt that I'm gonna figure it out. But you know, sometimes there is other doubts, like, is it worth it? Is it, because it is hard. It really is hard. So, like, there's times you're like, the late nights,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like when I work like a freaking maniac, like, and I love working, and I don't advocate a hustle lifestyle. Like, I do think you need to figure out a lifestyle that suits you and your personality and how you like to operate and what you're good at and stuff like that. But you'll never figure it out without starting. Like, you'll just never, like, the faster you start, the faster you figure it out, and you will mess it up anyway. Like, you're not going to avoid, doesn't matter how many mentors you're going to get, how much money you're going to pay somebody, there will always going to be some level of trial and error. It's just that you'll get shortcuts. Those shortcuts are freaking worth it, right? The shortcuts that I like is to pay somebody to show me how to do something. That's, like, if I want to set something up technically or something like that, I'd rather, like, okay, I'll pay you to just hop on a Zoom call. I published a book on Amazon, Beginner's Guide to Email Marketing, and the lady that I hired, I said, I'll pay you to format the book for me for Amazon, but I want to be on a Zoom call while you're doing it. That was my exchange. That was the thing. I'm only paying you if we're doing it on Zoom. And she did that. And by the time she finished, I said, okay, I'm glad I did it, because there's zero chance I will ever do this myself. I will always pay you to do it for me, because there's zero chance I want to do it. It's so tedious.
Oh my gosh. So basically the value of that is you learned what not to waste your time on.
Absolutely no chance. No chance.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
So smart.
Yeah. Like, I was like, and there's other skills. I'm like, oh, this is great. I want to learn now. But sometimes it's the other way, and that's okay. But it's a
Yeah.
shortcut. Instead of me wasting 20 hours trying to do it myself and wanting to smash my keyboard,
Yeah.
I spent 3 hours half paying attention while multitasking to know, yeah, there's no chance it's going to happen. And the book got published the next day. So,
Yeah. Yeah. A little piece of value from that too is like that. I know a lot of people have struggles with like, but who's going to pay me for that when anybody could do this? So you watched this person show you how to format the book. So now you actually know how to do it yourself. And you're like, I don't want to do that.
No chance.
So for a lot of service providers, even though you might be focused on a skill that anybody else could do, it's not a special skill. As long as you're taking something off someone's plate, like you're saving them time or you're saving them energy or frustration, I for sure would be smashing my keyboard too in that situation. People will pay for that.
Yeah.
People will pay for that.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to just learn anything that's basic AF. It will get you further ahead.
Totally. I will mention one other thing that I think is really important here. There is two things that make, to me, a really good service provider somebody to hire. Number one, it's actually their work ethic, their communication, those things that are a little bit more innate to an individual. You got to be willing to answer your messages in a timely fashion. You got to be responsive. You got to be understanding. You got to be, communicative. And also, you have to have a work ethic. Like, if you don't have a work ethic, it doesn't matter how many skills you have. And this is where I think some people maybe think a market is saturated. It's not saturated by people with good work ethic and good communication skills.
So true.
It is saturated with people who have terrible communication skills or are lazy, who have skills, who've done courses, who claim to know to do this, and maybe they are great, but bloody hell, they're terrible at explaining what they're doing and how long it takes them to do it, and and duplicating like, to find somebody who can duplicate instructions is not easy.
Yeah.
Right? And I think if you have foundational human ability to work, skills can always be learned. That's actually not, when I hire VAs, by the way, virtual assistants, typically I actually hire for work ethic and communication skills. I don't care what they're good at and what they're not good at, because I know that they can learn that stuff. My video editor, she had very little video editing skills at the beginning when she worked with me. I was her first client, but I saw something in her from her communication skills and her work ethic and I was like, oh, she'll learn. I'll guide her. And that is so much harder to find. So if you have that, or you're willing to, change that and actually become a hard worker and not be lazy, skills, I mean, you'll never have a problem making money, because
Yeah.
if my business goes to heck tomorrow, and if your business goes to tomorrow, at least we have our work ethic. We can do the video editing.
For sure.
We can figure something out. If we're destitute all of a sudden, we'll just pick up a service and
For sure.
find a client.
Yeah. That trust in yourself, I think for me is my biggest safety net.
Yeah, that's right.
People will be like,
100%.
You're not employed, but like, what happens if blah, 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 whatever. You have to fend for yourself. It's like, but I know that I can fend for myself.
Yeah.
Like, I just have that trust. By the way, what you just said is one of the best rebuttals to imposter syndrome and like this market is saturated comment that we hear so often.
So ridiculous.
This leads me into just me sharing, I think, how I can help people. So what you just were saying, Eran, is like, maybe the market is saturated with people trying to do something, but they don't have all these essentially soft skills, like your work ethic and your communication and your empathy and just all that stuff. Actually, something that you said, I had a little ping where you were like, you just need to be able to answer your messages timely. I'm really bad about answering messages timely, like in my personal life, and I'm like late for shit all the time. Like, this is just who I am, and just because I have these parts of my personality that might definitely hurt me in the corporate world, like for sure. I can work around them in my business, and I'm setting up my business in a way where it's not expected of me to be answering within a few minutes, because I actually am not capable of doing that, basically. So for whoever you are listening to this, like whatever your weaknesses are, let's say, like mine is not responding super fast. If you have a weakness like that, it's okay. You'll have other strengths. So if you have other strengths, what I do for my clients is I offer something called a career assessment call, where basically you watch a series of videos where you open up your mind to all the different possibilities. And what we were saying earlier is there's like infinite things that you can do. So you start to open up your mind to the idea that there's something out there for you, and then you fill out this big worksheet. Takes you like 5 hours, but once you fill out the worksheet, then I can look at it, analyze your personality, and Eran, like if you came to me even when you were 30 years old, fresh out of this co-op volunteer situation, I still would have been able to suggest something to you, because I really believe that anybody can. And like, again, your story just proves it. Your story literally proves it. So if you're curious about what you could be doing to make money online, I hate that I just said make money online. If you're curious what you could do to have an online career where you can be free and be doing something meaningful that feels aligned with who you are and your personality, you can listen to episode 33 of this podcast. It's called How My Career Assessment Process Works, plus examples. You also can scroll below into the show notes and watch that free training that I mentioned earlier, how to get started as a digital nomad, or just slide into my DMs on Instagram and message me at Christa Bella Travels. And if you actually send the word apply, then I'll just send you the application to join the Digital Nomad Life Academy, which is where I'll help you skip all the steps, right? Help you just learn exactly what you need to do, step-by-step process to getting started as a digital nomad, not just getting started, but also creating a thriving business that can ultimately get you to the point where Eran is at, where, he's living his dream life in Bali. And also, by the way, so am I. We're recording this podcast live in a real studio.
So cool.
So whatever your dreams are, you can make them happen. Like, I just know you can, but you have to believe in yourself, and you have to be willing to do some scary shit, which requires taking some risks and possibly, quote, wasting, end quote, your time learning things and maybe making some mistakes along the way. But if you are willing to do that, I know that you could be in this podcast seat within, I don't know, how long would you say, Eran? Can someone change their life?
I would say between 8 to 12 months, you can reasonably have this type of a lifestyle, even if you're not making six figures, because you don't need to make six figures. No. This is all just online cliches and marketing hype, But 8 to 12 months, totally doable. It's a realistic thing. It's a realistic
And
thing.
that's like if you're starting from complete scratch.
Scratch.
Like where most people are not actually starting from scratch. They just don't know what their starting point is and how that point is relevant to the overall process.
Yeah.
So.
Starting from scratch, even honestly, learn a skill in a weekend, get your first client by the next week. Like within this next 7 days, you should get your first client, even if it's for free. Just get a client, start freaking working.
Yeah.
And that's the reality.
That was another thing that I wanted to pull out from your story is that it just, you like started off from the bottom, right? $200, I'll take it.
I was so happy.
Sold.
Those $200 more than what I was willing to do it for. So
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's like that first dollar on the wall, like framed, right? You know, we all have it.
we all have it.
Anyway, this was such an inspiring episode.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for just sharing your story with the world
My
and
pleasure.
with me and with the listeners. If anybody wants to reach out to you, what would be the best way to get in touch?
Probably Instagram is good. Just Eran Bukai is good enough.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll link it in the show notes.
Yeah.
All right, cool. We're getting kicked out of this podcast studio, so we gotta go. But thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.
See
Bye.
you. Bye.